All right, so just some quick review again on rearranging linear equations. When we're rearranging linear equations, the goal is to get everything in the format of y equals mx plus b. So we want that format where m is our slope, b is our y-intercept. When we're making these kind of rearrangements, what we need to focus on is getting the y on one side and everything else on the other side. We look at our first equation here, what would make sense to move is our 3x. So it's a positive 4y, so we don't need to change that. We can leave that as just 4y. We don't need to put the plus sign. And then on the other side, we have 12, and we're moving the 3x. That was being added here, so we're going to move it over, and it's going to change to a subtraction of 3x. Next, we need to take the 4 that is beside the y and get rid of that. It is 4 times y, so the opposite of multiplying by 4 is to divide by 4. So we're going to take that and divide the entire side by 4. 12 minus 3x, all divided by 4. Next, because of the way arithmetic works, we can divide both numbers, the coefficient portion 12 and 3, by 4. So what we write is 12 over 4, use whatever sign is here, in this case minus, 3 over 4x. The x could go with the 3, but this will make it easier for you. We already have this portion of the equation in our slope format, 3 over 4x. So this part over here is done. We just need to do our division here, and we get 12 divided by 4, which is 3. So then we have minus 3 over 4x. This is in y equals mx plus b format. Yes, the mx and the b are reversed, but that's okay. This is our b value here. So our b value is 3. Our m value, or slope, is negative 3 over 4. And again, it's easiest if we continue to take the negative sign and associate it with that upper value. In the next example, we have 7x minus y equals 9. So what we need to do is move the 7x. So we're going to move that over, and again, we're subtracting it from y from it. So this is an adding, subtracting kind of question. So we're going to change that into negative y, and be sure not to miss the negative sign, equals 9 minus 7x. Pay attention again to the negative sign, and as well that we're keeping all our letters, our variable portions, in the equation. We're not removing those. I know sometimes it's easier to do that. Do not do that. Next step though, how do we get rid of that negative? Two options. I'll show you the first, which is we could treat this as negative 1y equals 9 minus 7x. Meaning we can divide both sides by negative 1. So we get 9 minus 7x over negative 1. And then we can, just like this one, we can break that 1 between the two numbers. So we'd get y equals 9 over negative 1 minus, again, taking that middle sign, putting it down, 7 over negative 1x. Positive 9 divided by negative 1 leaves us with a negative 9. 7 divided by negative 1 is negative 7. So I got negative 7x. So two negatives side by side make a positive, plus 7x. And again, we can pull out our b value, which is negative 9, and our slope, which is 7. And again, we've mentioned this a few times, that 7 is the same as 7 over 1, rise over right. And so now we have two graphable pieces. If we move on to the next example, we have 3x plus 2 equals y, or sorry, 3x plus 2 minus y equals 0. This here is actually solvable, or sorry, completely missed the second version of this. From this step right here, an alternative method of solving this. This is negative y. If I want positive y, I just change the sign to the opposite, which is going from negative y to positive y. So I just flip the sign on that one. And if I flip, what ends up happening, and you'll see the same answer here, if I flip the sign on everything, so y equals negative 9 plus 7x, I flipped all the signs, I get the same result. I didn't have to do those intermediary steps. This is only when we have just the negative y. If we have a situation like this where there is a number in front, we have to divide that number out. But in the case over here, we're able to do that shortcut. If you don't recognize the shortcut, this whole method is perfectly fine. If you recognize that shortcut, that is a great way to get to the end very quickly. All right, moving on back to our 3x plus 2 minus y equals 0. In this case here, you could move the 3x and the plus 2 to the other side and get negative y equals negative 3x minus 2, and go through the same kind of processes up here. Or actually more like this one. However, what if we just move the y? What if we move negative y over instead? We would get 3x plus 2 equals positive y. This here is already in y equals mx plus b format. We're done. We have no other work to do. We have 2 as our b value. So b is 2. And our m value, our slope, is 3, or 3 over 1. So when you have just a negative y, you can move it over. Even if you had a negative 3y or something similar, you can just move that y portion over. It's less things to move. You don't have to move the 2 values. You can move 1 value. Whether we have y equals mx plus b or mx plus b equals y, both of those are exactly the same. In our final example, 4x plus 1 equals y, we're done. There's no work to do here. Again, just like we mentioned over here, it doesn't matter which side the y is on. We have it isolated by itself. And so 4x plus 1 is the same as y equals 4x plus 1. Both of these are exactly the same, so we don't have to change anything around. We can just straight out pull out our slope, 4 over 1, and our b value, which is 1. Again, always remember, slope goes with the x value. The number by itself is your b value.